Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Tokyo Necro. As you can see, it's still pretty early in the day. Well, I wouldn't say it's early, but not that late. So I can actually record a lot today. I just ate some tuna along with some vegetables and then had an apple for a snack. Man, I'm really eating quite healthy today. But yeah, here you are back in Tokyo Necro again. And let me recap what happened last time. I believe last time we went out with Mitsumi and found out that her brother was living dead and being experimented on by the Tokyo military police. And before that, what happened? We went to Kansu. We went with Iria. We saw the vice governor. I don't think actually much happened last episode, did it? The only difference is that Zone is very anxious now about protecting Iria because he couldn't do anything against Milgram. And yeah, as I said, hopefully we don't see Mitsumi dying in this route. Since it would really suck if she does die. Man, 43 hours of this game I've already played. This game is definitely a lot longer than than what the VNDB page said. And it seemed we can actually skip this one, so let's try to skip it. What the? I guess we can't skip it. People often say this. This is a shithole of a city. I'm still using my left hand, by the way, so do apologize if I have a misclick somewhere. A shithole of a city occupied by shitheads. Said shitheads, of course, lead shitty lives. Okay, fellas, I get where you're coming from. Doesn't putting it like that strike you as a little short-sighted, though? I mean, take another look around. There's tasty finger-licking food. Crazy fun brawls. The cutest girls you'll ever find. Plenty of wonderful things all over the place if you just look. We're living good here, lads. I can say that with my head held high. Or at least, I could say that. Until just a short while ago. I think Etika also notices that she's becoming a living dead.
Echika, どうしたの? 連絡もなしに。
バーチャルスフィアあったよね。
Is that something that you play like in the arcade?
え、うん。
使わせて。
わかった。
This is a bit random. I don't know what the hell she's trying to use it for. I head for a virtual spear in the debug room. It's miniaturized, but still a bit too large to fit comfortably in someone's home. Even game designers don't usually have one of these for personal use. Sue here is a bona fide shut-in though, so she built testing facilities she could access from the comfort of her own home.
ソフトは何に?
浜辺の風景。
Oh, she's trying to find out if she feels anything after going here, huh? The roar of the rolling waves echoes continually. An ebony sea. Waves that foam with an emerald glow. Fragments of the city lights reflect on the water's surface. It may seem almost forlorn at first, but there's a reason why this virtual environment has stolen the hearts of so many. Hagio Iria's masterpiece, Midnight Shores. I'm a big fan myself. Whenever things are too hard, too painful, too irritating, I'll use this program, and oddly enough, it puts my heart at ease every time. When these waves rock me back and forth, it feels like the border between being alive and being dead fades away, little by little. All of my emotions seem to melt into one. There are no borders. I'm simply there. I simply exist. Whenever I visit this world, it fills me with so much joy. I don't have to think about all the troublesome little things. I'm just here. I think there's actually a word for this thing. I think my professor told me something about... what was it? Basically, when you're somewhere, you should be... mindfulness, I think, is like the saying or the term. Basically, when you're in a place or wherever you are, think about what's around you instead of thinking about stuff that, you know, is in the future. Think about the present, basically. Feel what you're feeling right now. Like, you know, it's a really weird concept in a way, because it's like very basic stuff. Feel how you're feeling, right? Like, you know, when you're sitting in a chair, feel how hard the chair is and stuff like that. When you're in a room, count how many lights there are. It does give you a sense of fulfillness, I suppose. Well, not fulfillness, but like, it makes you calm. I can see that that's one of its benefits. But other than that, I'm not really sure what else. I just exist. And that's nothing short of a miracle. It fills me with a true sense of contentment. That's what it's like when I'm here. That's what it should be like. Yeah, she notices.
どうしたの？
スーちゃん、お願いがあるの。
My voice probably sounds off-putting, even frightening. I can't even tell anymore. There are no more tears to pour down my cheeks. I turn to face Sue.
私を拷問して。
Yeah, living dead can't feel pain, right? A sense of foreboding, a premonition. There were times in the far past when mankind tried to write these feelings off as mere superstition. But now, most neurologists acknowledge that premonitions are grounded in science. The human brain's information processing isn't always done consciously. A great deal of information is processed on a subconscious level, and only a small amount of conclusions are scooped up and acknowledged by the conscious mind. A sense of premonition occurs when the brain processes some information subconsciously and raises an alarm as a result. By no means is it a supernatural phenomenon. You know, I kinda thought about it again, and I guess the highway to some degrees, like the collective unconscious, right? In Jung's theory about personality. All of us are gathered in the living room. 1 hour remains until the time Amachi Juichiro appointed. It's almost time to leave.
Ilya, 忘れ物はないな。
Okay.
Right, last time we were also invited to the fortress.
ん？なんだお乳か。
Iria holds up her pistol excitedly, only for Tokitaka to snatch it out of her hands.
ちょっと触らないでよ。腐る。
腐るか。
かますぞ。
I don't know what she said there, but there's no way that she said that.
はあ？
Iria looks to be fine. Seeing her and Tokitaka banter like usual helps to lift the mood a bit. But just as that thought crosses my mind, the situation develops rapidly.
みつみちゃんがザ・フォートレスに向かったみたい。
みつみが。
出発前に予定を伝えようと思ったんだけど、連絡が通じなくて。調べたらコールドキャブの乗車記録が残ってた。
Why would she go there?
しかも片道乗車。
The air in the room grows heavy with tension. My breath sticks in my throat. I have to steel myself before exhaling.
僕のせいかもしれません。
ソウン君の？
ザ・フォートレスに乗り込むことを先に伝えました。勝手に抜け駆けしやがって。
Tokitaka's tone is bitter.
すまない。お前のせいじゃないって。もともとあいつは信用ならなかったんだ。いや、でも。
I think back to how Mitsumi acted at the Tokyo radio tower earlier.
いくら三海でも何の理由もなく一人でザ・フォートレスに乗り込むなんて真似はしない。
The fact that she bought a one-way ticket though, doesn't that mean that she's not expecting to return alive? At least that might be the implication.
きっと何か理由があるんだと思う。 なんだそう。三つに惚れたか？
わからない。
The usual son would have instantly denied it.
なんで否定しないんだよ。本気か？
いや、だからわからないんだ。
How do I feel about Mitsumi? I still can't quite put it into words.
なんだこの空気。おいエチカ、なんとかしてくれ。
Tokitaka tries to steer a conversation in her direction, but Etika holds her tongue. She hasn't said anything for a while now, actually. Now that I take a closer look, she seems a little off.
お願いだ。三つを救いたい。
I turn to everyone and bow my head.
みんな協力してくれ。
協力も何も。三つが今どこにいようと、俺たちがザ・フォートレスに行かなきゃならないことには変わりない。こいつの過去を取り戻すためにな。
こいつって言うな。
もしその途中三つを見つけたら、まあ一応助けて貸しを作るのも悪くない。そうだろエチカ。エチカ？
あ
具合でも悪いのか？
あ、んなことはないよ。ただちょっと考え事をね。
考え事？お前が？
His job doesn't even seem to register with her. Tokitaka simply shrugs with a resigned expression.
それじゃ予定の変更はなし。
A reliable superior sums things up and gives her instructions.
天地十一郎の招待状に従ってザ・フォートレスに向かうわ。10分後シーラカーズに集合。みんな遅れないようにね。
At Ryoko's orders, we each begin outfitting ourselves. I re-inspect my gear while praying for Mitsumi's safety. Muzzle flashes illuminate the silent castle. Mitsumi nimbly avoids gunfire as she closes in on her target. Reeling it in with her arm, she knocks it against the ground, reaches for its neck and twists it with a force afforded to her by her reinforced bodysuit. Her prey stirs no more. Mitsumi tosses its head to the side, its camera eye glinting ominously as it rolls along the brickwork flagstones. From a distance, her dispatch opponent looks like a human soldier wearing a full-face helmet, but its head is made of metal alloy and stuffed with sensors. In other words, it's a humanoid security robot. I'm just thinking, like, why would she be storming this place? Is it a direct order from Kokoyasu? Mitsumi senses her new opponents approach her from within the darkness. She is in the fortress, the inner citadel of Imachi Juichiro, premier authority on the development and marketing of humanoid operating machines. A large force of security robots moves in to intercept her. A total of 5 units. The more opponents, the better. Their primary armaments are assault rifles made to use a new type of ammunition employing boron gunpowder. Their secondary armaments are machine pistols, and all of those fire at her at once. Weaving her way through intersecting lines of fire, Mitsumi slips between two of the enemy units. She grabs one of the arm and snaps it in half. The robot loses its grip on its gun and it goes flying. They use weapons meant for humans and wear bulletproof vests. Tokyo is frozen and lacking in resources. Security robots in the city are humanoid in form, so they can reuse equipment designed for humans, which means their weapons can be stolen and used against them with ease. Using her enemy as a shield, Mitsumi lets loose with her newly acquired assault rifle. Destroying a valuable unit just to capture one intruder is utterly irrational. The moment the chance of friendly fire occurs, the robots, rational to their very core, become slow to react. Outsmarting them is child's play. Mitsumi shoots down one target after the next with pinpoint accuracy. It doesn't matter how many of these dim-witted metal mannequins come out, she won't lose to them. Mitsumi has one target and one target only in mind: Milgram. After parting with Son, Mitsumi returns to the office when she suddenly hears a knock on the door. Of course, she's not expecting any guests. I feel like she's being lied to. Mitsumi cautiously peeks out the door.
こんばんは。
That's Olga.
誰だ？
さて、私は誰でしょう。
Standing on the other side of the door is someone Mitsumi isn't familiar with.
遊びに付き合う気はない。
ミルグラムを探してるって仲間から聞いてね。
Mitsumi looks the woman over. Her body is well built and she carries herself with keen prowess of one versed in combat. Most striking of all, though, is the stench emanating from her. A stench too intense for perfume to hide. A stench unique to someone who lives on the razor's edge between life and death, just like Mitsumi herself.
貴様、本当にただの情報屋か？
正確には違うかな。でも、必要なものを必要な人のもとに届ける。商売の本質は変わらない。情報よりももっと物騒なものも扱ってる。とだけ言っておくわ。
判断材料がない。お主が信頼に値するか。
ミルグラムはザ・フォートレスにいる。どう？信頼してもらえる？
Mitsumi did impress upon the information brokers. I'm trying to understand what the hell this sentence is actually trying to say. Mitsumi did impress upon the information brokers she knows to contact her if they pick up any information on Milgram, but... Okay. The leader of the laboratory, Milgram. That was a weird sentence, I still feel. He exercises the utmost care in concealing his whereabouts. It's likely somewhere the pipe runners can't or won't monitor. And the fortress fits that description.
名前は？
とりあえず、オルガって呼んでもらおうかしら。
オルガ。詳しく話を聞かせてもらおう。
Resting a hand on Soshimaru, Mitsumi suddenly freezes. The image of the Kara Suzumi living that stalker agency holding a meeting flashes through her mind again. Should she tell Soen and the others about this?
まず最初に言っておくけど、私がこの情報を伝えるのは2人目よ。
2人目？
1人目は、唐雀涼子。
Nagaoka Soen mentioned they'd be going into the fortress, but he didn't mention anything about Milgram. Has she been betrayed? No. The one with the information is Kara Suzumi Ryoko, a seasoned veteran. It's possible she didn't relay everything to Soen. Of course, this is assuming Olga's information is at all trustworthy. But Mitsumi doesn't have the time to ascertain the truth. What eventually informs her decision is her tenacious urge to take revenge. If Milgram really is there, it should be her and no one else to settle the score with him. She won't let anyone get in her way of her revenge, not even Soen. This is Mitsumi's conviction, something she can never relinquish, her reason for being. Still feel like she's being lied to. Getting in was easy enough. The fortress is surrounded by a massive wall of smart material, but a section of the structure is adjacent to the sea. With Olga's help, Mitsumi hitched a ride on a ship meant for transporting humanoid operating machines, which took her directly into the facility. Like, she really needs to be more careful about this. What is Olga's goal, right? What benefit does Olga get from telling this to Mitsumi? The lights in the center of the premises are turned off, but I guess she's blinded by rage right now, or, you know, revenge. Mitsumi pushes her way deeper into the fortress, dispatching security robots and stealing their weapons along the way. It will take a lot more than a few robots to stop her. Mitsumi simply strides forward, ever forward, to prove that her struggle has not been in vain. Suddenly, a flash of dazzling light fills her field of vision, temporarily blinding her. Now would be the perfect time for enemies to ambush her. Mitsumi narrows her eyes and concentrates her nerves. And yet, nothing comes. Instead, cheery music starts blaring, hardly appropriate for the current situation. Her eyes eventually get used to the bright light, but the sight unfolding before her can only be described as bizarre. A massive Dutch wife frolics about, dancing the robot with its sequin-coated bosom stuck out. Okay. A holographic pole dancer begins to strip, swaying its body in an exaggeratedly coquettish fashion. The mascots to the sides are engaged in rough pornification, their comically enlarged genitals lit up like Christmas trees. The decorative illumination hanging above Mitsumi lights up in geometric patterns, forming a visual stimulant meant to excite anyone who lays eyes on the sight. A rainbow-colored amusement park, a nightmarish sexual wonderland.
ゲスね。
招待状も紹介状もなく乗り込んできたくせに大した物言いだね。
A voice crackles from a set of antiquated speakers. A gentlemanly voice booms through the maddened fortress.
天地十一郎か。
他人に名を尋ねるときは自分からそれが礼儀というものだ。以上
Mitsumi can't help but smirk, so he's well aware of who she is. She'd expect nothing less from the fortress's master. And Mitsumi has no intention of hiding her identity either.
ミルグラムを渡してもらおう。
はて誰のことだね。
とぼけるならば力ずくで。
それでは交渉の余地がない。
Contrary to his words, Amachi's tone doesn't waver in the slightest.
降りかかる火の粉は払わなければならない。
私をただの火の粉だと。
Mitsumi levels Soshimaru's glimmering blade.
邪魔者はすべて焼き払わせてもらおう。
ネックハン
What's that? A hi-fi with 8 arms wielding deadly weaponry in each one. Oh, this was the hi-fi that Olga was using, right? In the other route. Amachi's voice echoes through the Rainbow Garden, slowly fading away. See, this is also the reason why I think this is a trap, because this is probably Olga setting this up. I don't think Juichiro is actually a necromancer. A figure appears to answer his call. From its silhouette, Mitsumi initially assumes that multiple opponents are approaching her. A gun, another gun, and another, and another. But all of these firearms are being handled by a single opponent. This neck hanger has 8 arms, each of them gripping its own weapon.
面用な。
Every gun fires at once, all aiming directly for Mitsumi. But even with the bright light of the muzzle flashes obscuring her vision, Mitsumi swiftly dodges the gunfire. The femurs of her reinforced bodysuit bend, affording her superhuman speed as she sprints over the flagstones. Any ordinary person would struggle to even keep up with her movements. Neck hanger doesn't seem the slightest bit unnerved by this though. Its aim doesn't need to be perfect. One bullet might miss its mark, but the others will cover for it. A hailstorm of bullets mows down the surrounding artworks, scattering flurries of sparks and splinters of broken smart material into the air. Neckhanger's behavior algorithm is nothing like the robots Mitsumi has been facing. This won't be so simple. Very well. Having come to her decision, Mitsumi holds up Soshimaru and closes in on Neckhanger. Its 8 arms pursue her, squeezing the trigger of whichever weapon has her in its sights. Mitsumi doesn't waver though. You know, we're probably about 25 episodes in, and I just realized that the thing this game skipped down on, I think it's the voice acting. I realized that while this game has really nice storytelling and world building and stuff like that, I actually voice act most of the narration, you know? Like, I feel like my narration in each of these episodes is probably more than the dialogue itself. A pistol roars, but she's too fast. I just noticed that because, you know, of what happened with my voice last time. She blitzes past the machine gun's line of fire next. Her reinforced bodysuit lets her take a beating. No need to worry about trying to dodge every last bullet. The only thing she needs to worry about keeping safe is her brain. And what few bullets do whiz toward her head, she can deflect with Soshimaru. Soshimaru was snapped in half during the battle with Pavlov. After returning to the agency, Mitsumi used high-precision gauge block ringing to bind the blade again, but ultimately, that proved to be only a temporary measure. I was wondering why she got the blade up and running again. I thought she got a spare like Etika's rabbit punch, but nope. Polishing the faces of adjacent matter using nanotechnology as a means to connect it via intermolecular force. Neck hanger doesn't miss this opening. As Gijo Mitsumi stands defenseless, countless muzzles flash in unison. When Mitsumi comes to, she finds herself lying on the floor with her hands cuffed and a collar around her neck. Her hands are bound by stun cuffs that punish any intense movements with an electrical shock. There's an odd sensation around her neck too. However, her reinforced bodysuit is undamaged, and there's no trace of any bleeding. Was she shot with non-lethal bullets?
お目覚めかね
貴様は天地十一郎。
As the lord of this castle looks down on her composedly, Mitsumi glares back at him.
なぜ殺さない？
殺すわけがない。私が君を欲したのだよ。
Okay, so Olga was under instruction by this guy. Amachi Juichiro stresses each and every word, as if trying to communicate with a foreigner.
一体何のために？
君はこの城が何か理解しているかね
Amachi continues without giving her time to answer.
そう、セックスのための施設だ。私はセックスが好きなんだ。
Your personality is kind of different from the last two routes that I did, Juichiro.
それはもう、とてもとても。わざわざこんな城を作ってしまうくらい。
I mean, this guy is probably lying just so that, you would be surprised in the other route where he goes ballistic.
君はセックスが好きかい
I assume this is to protect, like the twist on the other route.
ああ、好きじゃないだろうね。もしかしたら処女かもしれない。いや、君の経歴を見させてもらったよ。
So is this gonna be a weird torture sex, 8 scene thing?
君は処女だ。間違いない。私の勘がそう言っているね。
Mitsumi has no choice but to continue listening to Amachi, eyes wide. I guess this is going to be a weird sex scene. Because you see that thing on the bottom left there. You only see that when, stuff happens, so... Patreon comes to Azaikyousuke? This is probably YouTube's first time seeing that. Maybe not, I'm not sure.
加えてもらおうか。
I can still show you guys this until, he actually whips out his dick. Which is probably in like a couple seconds or something. Mitsumi tries to crawl away, but the cuffs inhibit her movement. Amachi grabs Mitsumi's head and pushes her face against his crotch. I mean, I did say I don't want her to die. I don't necessarily care too much about her chastity.
どうかね。年寄りのものとは思えない私の武田しさが。
Well, you are a robot, Juichiro. This body, anyway. It's just a spare body.
誰がそんなものを？
Mitsumi has never seen a penis so fearsome up close until now. She can't distract herself from it. Amachi's penis is only a single, thin layer of fabric away. She can almost feel the fluids running through it. And this is with his penis still covered. If you were to pull it out now... Did she bite it off? What the fuck? Mitsumi bites down on Amachi's member, ripping it from his body, before spitting it to the side. What the fuck? The iron-like taste of blood fills her mouth. The stun cuffs will activate, she knows. The color will clamp down on her neck, and the gunpowder will soon detonate. But Mitsumi doesn't care. If the alternative is to obey this disgusting man, she'd rather die here and now.
そうだ、そうだ、それなんだ。
Mitsumi raises her head in surprise. Standing above her is Amachi Juichiro, laughing loudly, completely composed. I thought it was exposed. Did he cut off his sense of pain? Mitsumi examines the remains of his penis, little more than a nub now. I'm not even sure if I can actually show this. This is so weird. I guess I could. I guess I can only like not show you guys the part where he actually showed his penis. There's no blood spilling forth despite it being severed violently. From within the gaping wound, mechanical parts are visible. What she bit off wasn't part of a human body, but a machine.
貴様、人形か。
セクサロイドの専門家だからね。もちろん本体は人間だ。
Mechanical dolls made for the purpose of fornication, sexoroids. They have a long history. Mankind has developed and refined tools for sex for as long as it has existed. True, to make them ever more realistic, ever more human-like. Amachi Juichiro is the leading expert in the production of humanoid operating machines. By applying that technology, he was able to create sexoroids that look and act surprisingly human. According to some rumors, developing robots for military use was only a means to an end for Amachi. His original goal from the very start was to develop sexoroids.
君は合格だ。オルガ君、鳴らしてあげなさい。
了解。
So I guess now it's still gonna be an H scene?
貴様は。
This is gonna be a weird one. The figure that appears is the woman who sold Mitsumi information earlier, and the one who guided her here.
噂には聞いてたけど、凄まじく単純ね。まさかあんな嘘に騙されるなんて。
Yeah, I gotta say, Mitsumi was pretty dumb about this.
嘘だと。
騙しがいがないっていうか、ネタばらしを引っ張る気力も湧かないくらいよ。
グルだったのか。
言ったでしょ。私は必要なものを必要な人のもとに届ける。
必要なもの。
オーダーメイド薬品による身体強化、人工筋肉スーツによる身体能力向上、さまざまなインプラントによる特殊機能追加、そして何よりその性格。理想的な商品ね。
商品だと。
そう、私が扱うのは人。人身売買の闇ブローカーってわけ。
I guess they don't want to spoil her linking to Milgram on this route.
あなたは身体能力といい、性格といい、クライアントのお眼鏡にかなう逸材だったってこと。
ふざけるな。貴様らの好き勝手には。
Olga grabs Mitsumi and knees her in the stomach.
いい反応。生きた人間はこうでなくっちゃ。
An overwhelming pain assails Mitsumi. She has implants meant to tune her sense of pain. Not to shut out her sense of pain, only to tune it. While completely shutting out pain is technologically possible, doing so would only serve to weaken a soldier. A soldier that's insensitive to pain would fail to react promptly to sudden danger. Olga is adept at hurting people, however, and her kick produced so much pain that the implants failed to keep up with it. And on top of that, being struck in the pit of her stomach knocked all the air out of Mitsumi, leaving her unable to breathe. Olga grabs Mitsumi by the hair, pulling her up with one hand.
楽しませて。かわいい剣豪さん。
So is this really gonna develop into a weird H scene?
ほらほら、ちゃんと歩きなさい。
Mitsumi is in a daze and her limbs are limp, and so Olga drags her along by the collar.
この辺りは実験区画。ハードなプレイをするお客さんのプレイルームであると同時に、セクサロイド開発のためにさまざまな新技術がテストされてる。
The corridor is like a circus display of torture chambers. They pass by an assortment of cells, each outfitted with semi-transparent glass walls.
いかに人間の感情を模倣するか。そこから始まったセクサロイド開発は、とっくの昔に人間を超えてる。
Truth be told, if sexoroids were a thing, I think they would be quite popular.
人間を手本にして、人間よりもずっと興奮をかきたてる感情表現が可能になった。でもね、サンプリングのためにはサンプルが必要。人間の感情を限界まで、限界以上に引き出す必要があるのよね。
As her throat is constricted, Mitsumi's eyes cloud over. But even still, she understands what kind of place she's in. One cell is in the middle of an operation to attach a human head to a dog's torso. What the fuck?
完全に非合法の実験。ここでは普通の人間も素材として使われるわ。高齢者、ホームレス、不法滞在外国人。この社会はそういう人間を人間として認めないようになった。だからここで使う。人類のために役立てる。私はそのブローカーってわけ。
Another cell houses a young Southeast Asian man. The top of his skull is cut off, exposing his brain, from which an array of electrodes protrudes. You good, dude? Standing all around the men are female nurses, collecting information with indifferent expressions. Looking close, they're androids dressed in white skin suits, wearing nurse caps. More creations of Juichiro. And while it isn't clear if it's because he's had some kind of drug administered, or if it's due to his brain being toyed with, the man's penis is erect. One of the nurse androids inserts a wire into his urethra. She forcefully stuffs it all the way from his urethral opening through to his prostate gland. The man's pain defies description. He froths at the mouth, his saliva mixed with blood. There's a fuse running through the center of the wire. The fuse is triggered, bursting the man's engorged penis from the inside out. What the fuck, man? This is so creepy. The amount of gunpowder in the fuse was meticulously calculated so as to not cause damage to the nurses standing around him.
ひどい。何の意味が。
常識を超えた痛みに襲われた時、脳はどう反応するのか。ペニスを失った後の男性の脳機能の変化など。もっとも、私はサンプリングに協力してるだけ。個人的な動機はお金と趣味ね。
Man, I can't even think about what would happen if your penis suddenly explodes. I mean, if it's an arm, it's probably a lot better, but the penis has so many, you know, like neurons and lots of nerves, right, basically. I think you might actually die if your penis suddenly explodes, you know? But then again, who knows? Mitsumi whispers hoarsely. That isn't just because of the color suffocating her, though. It's because she realizes that she's been chosen to be one such sample. The door opens and Mitsumi is thrown down on the floor. The room is designed as a European medieval torture chamber, perhaps to match the fortress's exterior design. At the center of the room is a bed with restraints attached to it. I guess it makes sense in the first route that we did, though, that Olga was betraying Amachi. Because he was actually in disbelief, right? When she destroyed all of his body spare parts. Olga approaches a medical cabinet that's set against the wall and touches a transparent touchscreen display. The drawer slides open automatically, and Olga takes out a syringe gun from inside it. She then theatrically loads a cartridge into the syringe gun.
これは医療用のマイクロロボットよ。天地十一郎の公表していない製品の一つ。今、病院や軍警察が使っているものよりはるかに高性能なもの。リビングデッドストーカーなら脳をいじられないようにブロックしているかもしれない。それを体内で遮断し、無効化するの。即効性。もう何を体に埋め込んでいようと意味がない。
There isn't any need to explain everything meticulously to Mitsumi like this. She's doing this because she gets a kick out of it. To that end, Mitsumi tries to maintain her composure at all costs.
いい顔。
Olga presses the needleless syringe gun against Mitsumi's neck and fires the drug into her bloodstream.
その表情がいつまで持つかしら。
Olga takes a coin-shaped electrode pad out of the drawer. An electrical signal drug. Mitsumi recognized that much.
大昔、一人の男が乱射事件を起こした。平凡な人生を送っていたのに、突然銃で一般市民を虐殺した。乱射犯として射殺され、その死体を解剖した結果、面白いことが分かったの。その男の脳には最近できたばかりの腫瘍があった。それが脳の理性を司る部分の活動を阻害していたの。ほんの小さな腫瘍。それだけで善良な一般市民が銃の乱射犯に変わってしまう。
それがどうした？
I mean, she's probably gonna try to do something with your brain.
人間は脳の奴隷なの。体は脳に逆らえない。ドラッグが下垂体前葉を刺激するとホルモンを分泌する。神経伝達物質の輸送もコントロールする。信号は危険域のチューニング。脳が興奮したらもう抵抗しようとしても無理。セックスが効果的な拷問になる。市販のものじゃ味わえないところに行きなさい。
Olga leans in and whispers into Mitsumi's ear. Mitsumi closes her eyes as if resigning herself to what's to come. Only to suddenly headbutt Olga. Mitsumi is prepared to die if need be. The torture chamber's entrance is likely guarded by security robots, and it's clear she can't remove the explosive color on her own. But she'd rather die than let her body be tormented by an illegal electric signal drug. If she doesn't resist, she'll eventually... A jolt from the stun cuffs forces her body to bend backwards. Mitsumi rolls on the ground as she spasms from the shock.
自分が何をされるかは理解しているようね。とてもいいわ。
Olga presses the electric signal drug to Mitsumi's temple.
パブロフの犬って話があるでしょ。ベルが鳴ったらよだれを垂らす。あれは犬に限った話じゃないの。
True?
ありとあらゆる生き物がそう。条件次第でどんな身体的反応も外部からの刺激で引き出すことが可能なの。
True, but not everyone is the same though.
人間の最重要器官が脳神経である限り変えられない。
Mitsumi didn't notice when the faint electrical discharge flowed into her. But little by little, she can feel her consciousness begin to morph. You good, Mitsumi? Moaning faintly, Mitsumi feels an odd sensation from her lower body. She soon realizes that she's rubbing her inner thighs against each other, without intending to. I don't want this. Stop. This is just that electric signal drug. Her mind tries to resist, but her reasoning slowly melts away. I actually had a discussion with a friend, like on Discord about this, but I feel like the whole like mind break kind of genre thing during these hentai like stories, like in my opinion, I'm not really into them, you know. I know some people are into them, but to me it feels like they're a bit too mainstream. They're like overused. Her brain orders her to have sex. She can easily ignore a command issued by someone else. But what is she to do if that emotion bubbles up from within her? Yeah, you guys hear the music actually changing? I think we are actually gonna have an H scene soon.
さあ、お楽しみの時間よ。
Olga temporarily unlocks the stun cuffs. Mitsumi's hands go free, but she feels no desire to resist or fight back. I guess this is where I should have plugged the Patreon. Her mind is completely helpless to resist. She feels her breathing quicken, without regard for her will. Her pulse picks up. Her blood pressure skyrockets, making her skin grow flush. Her lips part, and her mouth hangs open.
いい顔。発情したメス犬の顔よ。
Olga takes off part of her reinforced bodysuit. It's the part covering her crotch, and so she exposes her panties. Her underwear is thin, the sort usually worn with reinforced bodysuits. But there's a bulge underneath, pushing up the soft fabric in a distinctive shape.
男だったのか。
She probably just have, you know, an artificial penis.
私は正真正銘の女性。これは取り外し可能の疑似ペニス。もっとも、中身は生体素材の陰茎界面体だけど。
With the penis out of her mouth, Mitsumi furrows her brows in disappointment.
そんな。感想ははっきり言わないとセックスはなしよ。
No sex. Upon hearing those words, a chill runs through Mitsumi's body. If this keeps going, she will end up having sex. This woman, this artificial penis, will steal her first time. Her lips move on their own.
お願いします。それだけはダメ。私セックスだけは他は何でもしますから。
Sorry, I was gonna say, you'd think that someone like Mitsumi actually wouldn't care too much about this, but maybe she's, you know, a lot more naive than I thought.
へえ、そう。そうなの。あなたには好きな人がいるのね。
Or maybe it's just the fact that I'm a guy, so, like, my virginity and a girl's virginity is different, right? I personally don't care about my status as a virgin, but girls are probably different, I suppose.
いや、違う。
Oh, sorry about that.
隠さなくていいのよ。
Olga's words carry a menacing undertone. The sense of dread they invoke feels like it might be enough to knock Mitsumi unconscious all on its own.
そういうの大好物だから。いや、嫌なことなんてしない。あなたが自分からお願いできるようになるまでいつまでもずっと待っててあげるからね。
Mitsumi's body is placed on the stone bed. The stun cuffs are connected to the restraints, rendering Mitsumi immobile as she lies sprawled across the bed.
はい、これ。
Olga pinches Mitsumi's nostrils and shoves a capsule down her throat. She tries to cuff it out, but her body swallows it against her will.
よくできました。
Before long, Mitsumi feels a heat flare up in the pit of her stomach. And soon enough, it begins burning throughout her body. It's as if it's eating its way out of her, changing her as it does.
電気信号ドラッグに合わせてチューニングした特製の美薬。ゆっくり溶けながらあなたを追い詰めていくから。楽しんでね。
Olga touches the electric signal drug. The stimulation to Mitsumi's forehead grows more intense, synchronizing with her pulse. But Olga doesn't do any more than that.
オルガ貴様
次に来るまで素直になってくれてると嬉しいわ。入れてくださいってお願いしたらちゃんと入れてあげるんだから。それじゃあね。
オルガ
The door closes. Mitsumi is left all alone in the room. Her bound limbs won't move. Her only companions are the electric signal drug and the aphrodisiac brewing in her stomach. Her body demands carnal pleasure. I don't know if I can actually show this. Maybe I could? Technically speaking, this is not really all that lewd. The urge washes over in waves, melting all rational thought into mush. Probably I'll just cut out the part where, you know, Olga shows her penis or some shit. It's artificial, by the way. Don't think. Don't. But the more she tells herself that, the more painfully aware of her lust she becomes. Nice scream there. Not as good as from, you know, like people in Corpse Party though. But no one is there to hear Mitsumi scream. I mean, if all else fails, she might be able to, you know, that might be the setup to how someone gets to have sex with her. If we actually do save her, right? We were technically invited. We can't exactly go there in a strider like we're ready for a shootout. So we make our way to the fortress in Ikolakanta. Someone's in the driver's seat, Iria's in the passenger seat, and Tokitaka and I are sitting in the back seat. Staying on standby in this car is a bit of a tall order, so Ryoko stayed behind in the agency. Though it's not clear how far Tokitaka and I can get in either.
見えてきたぞ。
Across the sea, we can see the massive Western-style ramparts of a nightmarish sex-resort theme park. The walls standing in our way must be 30 meters tall. The fortress, an exhausted quarry that was bought by Amachi Juichiro and remodeled into this massive castle. As expensive as they are, humanoid operating machines are an indispensable facet of society in Tokyo. Amachi Robotic Industries has a monopoly on robot production, and as such, their influence within Tokyo is vast. So much so that Empire Energy Corp even laid hot pipes specifically for their use.
入り口は
As if to answer Sone, a holographic sign appears in the air in front of the car. He drives according to the hologram's instructions, which then tell him to stop in front of a wall. A white laser extends from a point in the wall and sweeps across the Quelicanta. It's probably checking the number of people, whether we brought in any dangerous objects and so forth. Someone on Amachi's level can probably access the government's database, so it likely verifies our identities too. Once the scan is finished, a faint light shines and our field of vision opens up. The wall in front of us opens silently, changing shape into a massive gate.
こんな大量のスマートマテリアル、どうやって調達したんだか。
Tokitaka says exasperatedly. I gotta say, I understand where he's coming from. Smart material can change its shape and properties by having electricity run through it. Nothing short of magical. It can open up entrances in walls, form new walls to trap intruders, repair damage to itself. It can do pretty much anything, so long as you can program that action. But it's expensive shit, you know? Gotta wonder how many stacks that geezer is sitting on thanks to his robots. The first thing to greet us is the twinkling of the stars in the sky. A starry sky, the kind you can't see within Tokyo, is projected on the smart material walls. The massive flower bed spreading out before us is made of artificial micro-machine flowers that double as their air cleaner. And looming straight ahead of us, lit up, is a gigantic castle. Looking at it like this, one wouldn't imagine this is where the bulk of Tokyo's humanoid operating machines are produced. It looks more like a fairytale utopia. A papier? Papier mash caricature one. What the hell is a papier?
車を降りなさい。
無粋な出迎えだね。
We do as we're told and get out of the car. A security robot approaches Iria and gazes at her with its blue, lifeless camera eye. A man's voice crackles out of the security robot speakers. It gives the impression of a gentlemanly old man, but I'm not convinced. There's a slimy quality to the voice, like it's constantly slurping inside my ear. Almost makes me wish he'd use a voice changer or something.
この声が。
間違いない。
Iria holds her head in her arms, nodding through the pain.
かわいそうに記憶を消されているとは。
Now we can finally find out whether or not Iria, you know, voluntarily removed her memory or not. I was like thinking that she might be voluntarily doing this, but we'll see.
心配は無用だ。すぐに記憶を取り戻させてあげよう。
結構だ。
Whoa. Someone cuts in.
イリアは自分の力で記憶を取り戻そうとしている。あなたに頼る必要はない。
Okay, I thought Sohn in the first route actually had emotions, but this Sohn is definitely, you know, a lot more assertive than Living Dead Sohn.
彼女の部屋まで案内してもらおう。
Sohn speaks rather aggressively, but Amachi doesn't sound like he's the slightest bit fazed by it.
そんなにゾロゾロついてこられては困るよ。なんだね、その物騒な武器は。招待状まで出したんだ。紳士的な振る舞いを希望する。イリア君の付き添いは1名に限定させていただく。
Only one, meaning Sohn.
やだやだやだ。私たちも行く。待ってても暇だもん。
I throw a tantrum. Hey, no reason to just go along with him. He's one sly motherfucker though.
退屈はさせないよ。私の城を見れば退屈など吹き飛ぶさ。
いや、そういうつもりで言ったんじゃないんだけど。なあ、時田か。
俺はこの城の幾何学模様的衣装が気になる。特にあのペンローズタイル。
何言ってんだ
？2種類のひし形を使用する平面重点形で、鋭角72度、鈍角108度と鋭角36度、鈍角144度でパターンを作ることにより。
I think most people won't care about that, Tokitaka. But I get it.
そういうことを聞いてるんじゃねえよ。
Expecting Tokitaka to back me up outside a battle might have been stupid of me.
案内するが、武器の類は置いていってもらうよ。
武器って？
ライフ、ショットガン、拳銃、そういったものだ。
At Amachi's prodding, we throw everything he mentioned into the car. Yes, everything he mentioned. No reason to let go of anything he didn't mention, though.
主要な施設に入る際には電磁パルスをかける。シールドしていない電子機器も外しなさい。
ご丁寧にどうも。
Predictably enough, the fortress's interior has a mesh jammer active. None of our conries will be able to communicate without authorization. I won't be able to get in touch with Son, to say nothing of anyone outside. As for my X-Brain, honestly, I prefer to take the damn thing off, but since he hasn't said anything about it, I might as well leave it on. I hope I won't need to put it to use, in more ways than one.
それでは案内しよう。
The machine continues speaking with the old man's voice. Suddenly, the bushes next to us split open. And a pair of giant orange vehicles appear from between them, as if they had been conjured there by magic. Pumpkin carriages, worthy of carrying Cinderella into the castle. So he wants us to ride in separately, does he?
イリアちゃん、ソウウンの指示に従ってね。
わかった。
じゃ、生きて帰れよ、兄弟。
死んでもね。
We exchange our usual banter as we approach the carriages. Okay, so everything was relatively normal until getting onto the carriages. But as I look out the window, I find myself staring wide-eyed, my mouth hanging open with shock.
何これ。
Spreading out before us is what you might call an amusement park, a recreational facility from the 21st century, the likes of I've only read about. Countless tourists are walking through the park. Families, couples, friends, people of all ages and sexes are enjoying the fortress's attractions. The only thing that looks off are the security robots standing guard here and there.
こんなのありか。
偽物だ。
偽物？
よく気づいたね。
Amachi Juichiro's voice speaks to us from the speaker, satisfied.
ロボットに娯楽は必要ない。娯楽に勤しむのは喜びを感じる人間だけだ。人を喜ばせることを目的に作られた施設。遊園地は最も人間らしい場所と言えよ。
それだけセクサロイドが人間らしい振る舞いをするってこと？
ああ、いわばここはショーディスプレイだね。
The excitement in Amachi's voice makes me cringe. Building an amusement park like this just to make his sexroids seem more human? I can say it, right? This guy's a fucking idiot. As I make my way through the square, exasperated, the dreamlike wonderland completely changes. The next thing I see is a giant Dutch wife covered in sequin, alongside a holographic pole dancer. What is sequin, by the way? Standing on both sides of the road like decorations are statues with obscenely enlarged genitals. This is where this amusement park of the night really begins.
にしても趣味悪い。
そうか？意外と美的センスは。
お前のセンスは聞いてない。
Sitting in the center of the premises is a large, fantastical castle. It looks to be about as tall as a skyscraper, but its proportions are distorted here and there, which throws my sense of perspective off. I don't know which architect planned this place out, but they were probably high on magic shrooms while they did it. Okay, I don't know if I should censor that. Technically, that's a statue. The pumpkin carriage approaches the front gate. The gate has a peculiar shape. Maybe this is where the electromagnetic pulse is applied. Is this supposed to like imitate the inside of a vagina? After entering, we advance through a dark corridor for some time. It's so dark you can barely make out your hand in front of your face with the naked eye. The dark isn't much of an obstacle for us, but it still makes for an unpleasant atmosphere. And what's worse is a suffocating, sickeningly sweet scent of chemicals that hangs in the air. The faint bass beat of music can be heard from the distance. Bass. Like some kind of heartbeat. And the walls around here, they feel kind of slippery. I'm not the most observant, But at this point, I realize what's up. The entire corridor is probably fashioned after a vagina. Holy fuck, man. This place is messed up. Right as Amachi says this, we reach a plaza. I hope we don't see any 8 scene or some shit because this music is playing. The ceiling is tall and there are dignified portraits lining the walls. But what takes place here is the polar opposite of dignified. Salacious moans echo in my ears and the suffocating fragrance of lust fills my nostrils. Lit up by the directional illumination of organic luminescent lighting is a myriad assortment of sexoroids, writhing as men fall upon them.
こんばんは、お兄さん。あら、素敵なお姉さんも。
And as our carriage rolls into the room, a group of women approaches us. In terms of appearance, they are indistinguishable from human women, but
ここではセクサロイドのデモンストレーション販売が行われている。サンプルを見る、触る、味わう。あるいは買った商品と思いっきり楽しむ。対価さえ払えば、あなたの望みは思うがままだ。
You know, to some degree, I do agree that, like, having sexroids would be really beneficial for, like, you know, helping us get rid of our instincts to, like, masturbate or stuff like that. But I also feel like it'd be kind of weird to have sex with an android because they probably have cameras attached, right? And the people making them might actually spy on us or some shit. That's actually something to think about. Ew, that's creepy. Sex. At every corner of this plaza are customers mingling with sexoroids.
君たちもいかがかね。
悪いけど趣味じゃない。
女性向けのセクサロイドも存在するが。
そっちの趣味じゃない。機械相手じゃおったたねえよ。
Apparently, he even knows my sexual orientation. Gotta hand it to him. The guy leaves no stone unturned.
そっちの君は？
あの娘の胸にフィボナッチ数列が隠されてる。それがさっきから気になって仕方がない。
Shut the fuck up, Tokitaka.
おお、わかるかね。
もちろん。
はあ、勝手にやってれば。
Don't feel like participating in whatever that conversation is. I take a look around me. Hetero, gay, lesbian, and everything in between. Every race, age, and kinky outfit imaginable. One-on-one sex, orgies, S&M, even sex that's closer to pure violence than anything else. It's like the fucking sex Olympics. I honestly don't know how else to describe it.
どうやらあなたには刺激が足りないようだ。ここでの料金はそれほど高くはない。比較的ノーマルな性癖のお客様が楽しんでいる。もっと過激なものをお望みならば奥に行こうか。
That's not what I'm looking for at all, but oh, whatever. It would leave me with a guilty conscience if I started a fight here and some dude got caught in the crossfire buck naked. Our pumpkin carriage starts moving once more, leading us deeper into the fortress. The sophisticated interior gives the impression we're walking through a corridor of some European castle. Having separated from Ethica and Tokitaka, we pass through a hidden door into an elevator that takes us directly to the upper floors of the castle. The smart material walls repeat the exact same pattern, seemingly endlessly. 3 sets of footsteps, 2 human, 1 machine, reverberate through the corridor, eventually fading into the darkness.
私、ここ、知ってる？
Iria forces the words out, her expression contorting. Just seeing her this agonized pains me. But this is necessary for her to reclaim her memories, something she chose to do. I gently place a hand on her shoulder.
長岡総雲君、君はセックスが好きかね？
Excuse me? Why is he asking me this all of a sudden? Well, Iria is clearly in pain.
セックスは人類に与えられた最大の快楽の一つ。進化の過程で獲得した淘汰への対抗手段。
Technically speaking, like beasts also have sex, so it's not just us humans that can appreciate it.
だが、十分に科学を発達させた人類は進化圧から解き放たれた。セックスは生殖のためではなく、ただ純粋に快楽を求めるために行われるようになったのだ。
That's true.
セクサロイドの城で日々行われる疑似生殖行為もそう。ここで浪費される生殖行為は何も生み出さない。
Sexroids are made and optimized to stir lust in humans. These sexroids are much more adept at handling the sex drive we've acquired for evolution than we humans are. Even if it produces nothing but lust for lust's sake.
さて、ここで問題だ。人は機械とセックスするようになった。だがなぜ人はリビングデッドとセックスしない？
Why can't people have sex with the living dead?
そう？
Why is Sone's heartbeat like going crazy over this?
大丈夫だ。
I feel confused. What was that just now? Why is my pulse racing like this?
人は死体との生殖行為に嫌悪感を抱く。人間を模倣した人形には何の抵抗もなく快楽を預けられるというのにだ。それはなぜだ？死体になった人間と機械。その両者を隔てるものは？
You know, technically nothing. That's why, I guess, for me, I wouldn't have sex with both of them, personally. I try to put my scattered thoughts into order. Necromancers treat the corpses they reanimate into living dead the same as robots. The human body is more than just a mass of matter. The circulatory, digestive, nervous, respiratory, immune, and secretion systems, countless processes are at play to ensure the body survives and cells replicate. A miraculous system we've acquired after eons of evolution. Necromancy is an art that allows the body to operate even after that system shuts down, while retaining a human appearance. Unlike living bodies, with all their troublesome complexities, a dead body is relatively simple. Some necromancers even treat dead bodies as little more than an expendable piece of machinery, like parts in a robot. So if a corpse is nothing more than a mass of matter, there shouldn't be anything to distinguish it from a machine. But we see them as different. We can't help but do so, because we naturally abhor and detest the idea of necrophilia.
私はこう考えた。人間と機械を隔てるものは感情であると。
感情？
But what distinguishes, you know, machine and corpse though? Both of them don't have emotions.
そう。人間には本来感情が備わっている。だが聖者が死者に変わるとき、それが抜け落ちてしまう。あるべき場所にあるべきものがない。それが死者に私たちが持つ嫌悪の根源ではないかと。
Aversion, not fear. Fear is born of the desire to cross over to the other side. But people feel aversion toward the idea of death. They try to avoid death, distance themselves from it. I actually read a book about death when I was studying philosophy a couple of years back. And yeah, most people don't really want to think about dying, you know. But what if someone were to continue loving a dead person, blind to the reality of their death? Said individual would never produce offspring. As such, no gene exists which would order us to love the dead.
さあ、目的の場所だよ。
The robot leading us suddenly stops in place. Standing before us is a massive double door, standing 2 stories tall.
私は向こうの相手をしなきゃならない。しばらく中で待っていてもらおうか。
Iria was actually being quiet throughout that whole exchange, by the way. I guess she doesn't really care about the whole sex with corpse thing. Iria probably didn't hear what Amachi just said. She steps forward as if being pulled by some invisible thread. But her hand freezes, inches away from touching the bronze doorknob. Will entering this room grant her hope, or cast her down into despair? She has no way of knowing until she opens the door. It's perfectly possible she will regret doing so. But Iria doesn't retreat. Taking a breath deep enough to echo through the corridor, she reaches for the doorknob. The door opens smoothly, as if sliding on rails. Beyond it is a spacious Western-style room, the kind one would expect to see here in the fortress. A chandelier hangs down from the tall ceiling, casting a soft glow in every corner of the room. The white velvet canopy of the bed sways as it catches the faint flow of the wind. But most eye-catching of all is the shining night view spreading out in front of us. It's likely just edited footage from external cameras, but beyond the balcony is a full view of Tokyo Bay, which should be obscured by the ramparts. Paying no heed to my caution, Iria steps forth as if she's being drawn in. She spins in place as she looks around the room.
ここが君の部屋。
そう。ここは私の
Why is the music sad though? Iria vigorously dives into the bed, her body bouncing against it.
やっと私自分のいた場所に戻ってこられた。
記憶が戻った。
ちょっと待って。私は
Iria furrows her brow, trying to call forth her memories. You know, playing this game does make me think about a lot of stuff, you know? Like, how do I know that this music is supposed to be, like, associated with it being a sad music? Right? It does make me think about some stuff. Albeit quite some weird stuff, you know? Her expression is so bright, one wouldn't believe she was tormented by headaches just moments ago.
私は池袋 CPC を出た後にずっとここにいてずっとこの景色を見てた。
I guess it's not the fact that I know this music is associated with being a sad music. It's the fact that it's associated with, you know, scenes from the game that were sad on the previous routes, I suppose. The music itself, I think, can be... Like, if I were to listen to this music for the first time, I feel like this can also be like a music that gives you hope, right? Or a music that, when you're feeling down, you listen to so that you can go back up again. To some degree, I can also picture that. Iria shifts her gaze to outside the window. From here, one can make out Tokyo's cityscape, riddled as it is with pipes, and the megafloat suspended over the ocean. Her eyes narrow as if she's thinking back on some old dream. I take a seat beside Iria, not saying a word. It's just the two of us. We say nothing, but we don't feel inclined to speak. Time simply passes by, quietly. I take a look around the room. The room's interior design is gorgeous. Every nook and cranny is well maintained and clean. It's furnished lavishly to provide comfort. But despite all that, this place strikes me as somehow desolate, lonely. An inexplicable sense of solitude seems to cling to every corner of this room. A padlock made of smart material locked the doors at some point. This is a cage. A gilded cage, made for Hagio Iria.
ここに閉じ込められてた。
多分そうかな。でもそれがひどいことだっては思わなかった。 ずっと池袋 CPC にいたしね。それにここじゃあ好きなことできた気がする。
好きなことが。
機械自由に触らせてもらったし、好きなだけ過去の映像アーカイブも見られた。200年前のアニメもその時一気にハマったの。
True. Amachi Juichiro's database is probably a veritable treasure trove of data.
それに浜辺の風景を作ったのもここ池袋 CPC の屋上にあったあの海岸、覚えてる？あれは東京メガフロートの浜辺をモデルに作られたんだって。
I look out the window. If I'm not mistaken, the megafloat was constructed with capital from the Empire Energy Corp.
いつか行ってみたいなとか、そんな風に思いながら浜辺の風景を作った。
I can understand what Iria is getting at. Experiencing midnight shores evoked all sorts of emotions in me. It wasn't flashy or fancy, but it instantly captivated my heart. Being submerged in the sea filled me with a warm, soothing feeling.
あの風景は君の祈りなんだね。
祈り？もしかしたらそうかも。
Iria's expression is a bit gloomy. At this moment, she's trying to regain her past. Who could blame her for being anxious? I have to cheer her up. To help her work up the courage somehow. I have the power to protect others. And I want to do just that. So I have to stay firm. I have to stay firm.
大丈夫だよ。
I look up and I'm somewhat shocked. Iria is right beside me. I can't believe how close she is to me. I can't believe I didn't notice her approaching. Not only is she close, she's holding my hand.
イリア。
みつみはきっと無事だから。
Hearing her say that makes me realize something. I've been trying not to think about Mitsumi the whole time. I entrusted her to Ethica. I shouldn't have to be worrying about her. And yet...
ごめん、イリア。やっぱり僕、ミツミのことが気になるみたいだ。
いやいや、なんで私に謝るの？感謝してるのはこっちだよ。ソウウンがついててくれるなら安心して記憶取り戻せるんだから。
Iria hops off the bed.
だからさ、ポクポクポクポクチーンって記憶を取り戻してやるんだから。
Iria spins around in place, grinning wildly. Her bright, carefree demeanor has been my salvation so many times now. So right now, the best thing I can do is focus on the task ahead of me. Iria walks toward the center of the room.
もうちょっとで思い出せそうなんだよね。
She says, switching gears.
私はここで一緒に過ごして。
一緒にって、天地十一郎。
そりゃあゆか。
Iria paces around the room, theatrically.
彼女は優しくて、それからいろいろ私に教えてくれて、浜辺の風景もその人のアドバイスで。
Iria stops in place. She fixes her gaze on a glass bottle sitting in front of the dresser.
これあゆかが好きだったの。
Shining inside the bottle are round, sparkly, pinkish beads. The bottle's label depicts a pink flower floating on the underwater surface.
ハスのフレーバーカプセル。
And as if to interrupt our conversation, the locked door opens and a blinding light floods into the room from the corridor. Alright. I think this is a good place for me to end this episode before things actually escalate. I'm also thinking about getting some more snacks. Probably gonna get like a pear or something. Gotta get something a lot more healthy nowadays, you know? But yeah, looks like we're gonna be getting close to where Mitsumi is. I can't believe this guy actually made us go to this place though. Or like made, you know, like doesn't mind that Etika is going to this place. But I guess we'll see what's gonna happen. So far, I feel like this route has been quite interesting, I suppose, but it definitely makes you think a lot more about like psychological stuff more than the story, in my opinion. While on the other route, I feel like I was always engrossed with the story. This one feels like a bit different. Might be a different writer, but I don't know. But with that, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Give this video a like if you guys like it. Sub if you guys haven't. Patreon will be getting these episodes early access along with everything uncensored. Which, there's not really an H scene per se in this episode. It's just like some like ecchi scene that's integrated into the plot. And I kind of like that more than just actual fan service H scenes. So, yeah. With that, I will see you guys in the next episode.